To help you get started with the Module 4 observation assignment, I'm going to show you the short video and walk you through the worksheet. When I completed these examples, I watched the video several times. I watched it all the way through, and then I would stop and start. To save your time right now, I'm not going to watch the video all the way through and stop and start. I'm going to show parts of it, stop, and talk about it. Let's first come to the worksheet over here where you see physical setup. I just briefly describe the environment. So it's at home, sitting on the low shelf of a table. Kitchen flows into dining room where you can see toys in the background. And you can see there's a stuffed animal and like a little plane or a car or something with wheels. I think that must be a dog toy, but I'm not sure, but another stuffed animal. Also, the materials and toys that I list, it says here that you have to do at least 10. Okay, well, we don't really see 10 in this setting, but that's also why for your work, you're going to use 3 videos. So you'll type in each 3 of the videos as you describe them. So here we have a notebook and pen. Scrolling on down, I want you to describe observations that you see with gross motor development. So let me play part of the video. Okay, you can see that she is able to sit independently. She can scoot to change position and move arms and hands freely. Child shows strong core strength. That's what I saw. That's what all you're putting here. Then if you will turn, before you start thinking of connection to theory, turn to page 200 and 201 of your textbook. That's where the milestones are summarized. And the reason this is so helpful is if I look under about her age, and so here she's 7 to 12 months, and I look under physical development, sits alone, crawls and walks, you'll see in parentheses a page number. You'll also see reaching and grasping, improve in flexibility and accuracy, shows refined pincer grasp. Discriminates among a wider range of facial expressions, including happiness, surprise, sadness, fearfulness, and anger. All those have page numbers after them. Flip to page 124, which is sits alone, crawls, and walks. And when I flip to that page in our textbook, I have dynamic systems theory of motor development. And I reread that paragraph and was like, yes, that's the connection to the textbook. So now I explain the connection to the textbook here. This is part of I use this exact title from our textbook, so I know that I am directly referring to the textbook, where the child is using several separate abilities together, i.e. holding head up, sitting up, balancing body, and moving around. So I made several observations about the child. Sitting independently, scooting, moving arms and hands freely, strong core strength. That's 4 observations I listed. And that one connection, dynamic systems theory of motor development, explains all of that. Okay, so then fine motor development. We saw her turning the book. So let's see this again. Let's keep watching. Okay, did you see she picked up the pen and then she just put the pen down on the paper and then she lifts it up? It's as if she's writing. Now, she didn't really write because the top's on it, but she's pretending to. And so here I write. Infant can turn pages, but she does so with using stiff fingers and multiple pages at once, except at the end of the clip. And that's all the way at the end. We haven't seen that yet. Infant grabs pen using whole hand, and you can see that over here, how she's got her whole hand using the pen to stabilize it. So on my connection to theory, again, I looked under the developmental milestones. It told me 126 to 127 under physical, fine motor. I turned to those 2 pages. I reread about fine motor development and I wrote my connection. So my connection is as summarized on page 127. So I highlighted this for you, emphasizing my direct connection to the textbook. We see the child changing her grip on pages, the book, and the pen to make her move without pausing or having to think. Because that's what they say here in our textbook is between 8 and 11 months, reaching and grasping are well practiced. So attention is released from the motor skill to events that occur before and after attaining the object. For example, and then they give an example. Well, we see the infant here describing this example. So then we flip to cognitive development. And what did I say about cognitive development? I made the observation that the child is turning pages. She picks up pen as if she's going to write, touches pen to page, drops pen, oops, typo, closes notebook, and then picks it up as if to say done. And we see, so I'm going to continue that video so you can see that part. Okay, so again, I flip to page 141 because I'm using the tips and hints on the developmental milestones pages. I flip to 141 and they specifically talk about intentional behavior. And so that is why I have highlighted it. And actually in our book, they say intentional or goal directed. And so I could actually say or goal directed. So I could use that whole phrase, use both. And I'm also giving the page number. See how explicit I'm being in connecting to the textbook. Language development. Okay, so we just saw this. So my observations are child babbles throughout as if she's telling us what she is doing. That's observation number 1. Observation number 2. She then turns to look at the dog, babbles, and turns to mother behind camera. That's like 3 observations. And responds to mother's comment on dog by looking and pointing to dog over her shoulder. Okay, so we just saw all that. So the connection, again, look at the language underneath that, and it turns me to page 164. So I flip to 164, and I'm looking at my headings, cooing and babbling, becoming a communicator, first words. Well, these aren't first words. So I start looking at this and I'm like, yes, the child is babbling. We see her becoming a communicator, which is the heading of one of the sections on 164. On page 164, she just looks at the mother, babbles, responds to the mother, and uses gestures to emphasize her babbling. So I tell you where she is in her development based on the textbook, and I explain why that is accurate, why that's an accurate analysis. Okay, so I stopped there feeling like I've given enough examples, but this is what I'm expecting you to do. And you have 3 videos to do it with. They're videative videos, or you may, so here they are, these links right here. And remember, I tell you here how to access those videos. Or you may use an observation with your own infant, or then these have to be infants. They have to be. You're going to do 4 observations. An infant is 12 months or younger. So you have to use an infant for this. But everybody can use the videos. And you can use all 3 videos to help you complete the assignment completely. Or you may use your own infant, or if you work in a child care center, an infant there, or if you have one as a friend or family, you get the point. Okay? So email questions as you have them, and I look forward to seeing your assignments.